Hey everyone, it's Teemu here. Welcome to my new video. It has been a while since I've done actually anything on YouTube because, well, I had a little holiday, a few weeks of holiday in Finland, and I decided to work on just relaxing. And also I had a little bit issues with my hands or wrists, so that affected a little bit to my playing. So I thought that it's better to make sure that I don't damage or do any damage to them. So I took some time off from music, and now I feel like I'm also excited to create something for YouTube. So here we go. One concept that I really started thinking was the songwriting, because first of all, I just updated my studio computer. That was like, I used that for creating my first album and everything until the last month or so. So all the creative stuff I've ever put out is basically on that computer, or was on that computer. I got everything like backed up as well. But besides that, I also realized that it has been 10 years since I started actually doing songwriting. So as you notice, this title, this video is all about the art of songwriting, and I'm going to share my story, how I got started with the songwriting, because I find it really exciting, and I guess you've probably had some similar experiences or so. Please let me know in the comments if you have like felt this some kind of thing, even though it may not be exactly the same. 10 years ago, I was in this, it was like a high school or a folk high school, because I was having a year off from actual like degree focused studies, because I didn't get into any music schools where I wanted to go after high school. So I took a year off and went to this folk high school that had like this 1-year program where you kind of focus on a different kind of projects through the whole year. And then that basically consists of like a rock musical and performing with a band and all this like theater and live mixing, and also like the studio perspective, and a little bit of songwriting was part of it as well. So it was like it gave a really wide spectrum of what you can work with music. And around the springtime, I had few guitar lessons from the guitarist Dave Wiener, who played with the Steve Vai band for a really long time. I think it was over 2 decades. And I asked him like, okay, what should I do? And he said that like, yeah, you should definitely like try to write something and record it. And again, once I started to think about it more and more, it started to make sense. Before this 1-year course or program, thing was that I always felt that anything I create was terrible. It's like that, even like I couldn't even get started, because I knew that whatever I create, it's so bad that it's not even worth trying to start it, because like I'm not good at it. And that's like prevented me to start anything, because like I knew that there are so great songwriters and stuff, and because like I haven't done anything, I haven't learned this art of creating music. So I thought that like it's not worth of even getting started, even though I had the interest of creating, it doesn't make sense. So I started taking small steps. I bought this little Boss looper pedal. I think it was RC2 or 4. It was capable of having multiple layers of drum tracks, and fairly long ones actually. And besides that, it was having some drum loops to motivate or inspire, but also keep the rhythm as well. So I started using it for practicing different things. Besides that, I also used it for songwriting together, some kind of like chord progressions and perhaps some riffs. And I knew at that point that anything I create, it's not going to be great. So as long as I just gather something, I record it and, have it somewhere storage, it's fine. even though I may not ever use it again. So, I started doing that, and eventually I ended up having this riff with a drop 8 tuning, 7-string tuning, by the way, and I think it rocked really well. So I started like working more and more on it, and it made sense to then create the song That's Enough based on that like little riff. And then because I started to have the vision how to start focusing on it more and more, it just started to work really well that way. I think it's still so exciting to have that little idea, and once you start to have the vision, it's just like chasing the idea or the view of like how to make that song happen or work, even though you're not entirely sure how to do it. But I've noticed that eventually I end up creating something really cool. So the idea here was just to start from something small. It can be like a few chord progression and maybe a few bar melody idea, and everything can work from there. So basically I just created that song That's Enough that way. I practiced with the drummer and instructed like how to play through that whole song, and yeah, you can check out the song from below, because you can check it out, because I think it's interesting for you to see what's like the first song ever that I created. But keep in mind that I also spent tons of hours for like just creating that melodies and all those solos for the song. So but once I created the song, I just realized that I really enjoy the whole process of doing so. So because of that, I kept working on song ideas more and more. I did use that RC looper for over a year, and then I ended up purchasing my first iMac by just basically working extra hours while being a full-time music student. So those days were like really long days. I barely slept on those days, but once I managed to gather up all the money together for buying 11 rack, which was an audio interface basically that I used, and the iMac, then it was obvious to quit that job. But again, I'm going to tell more about the studio machine and what happened with that on the further videos on this channel as well. So if I have to summarize somehow this all, it's just whatever you create first, you only start improving from there. It can be whatever creative thing or cooking or practicing any instrument. You can only improve by putting the time in order to improve with it. And the second thing is just start from small things. Just, I don't know, write a little melody. It can be just an interval, and just start evolving there from a regular basis. And then I think it starts to become more and more naturally to create music. I think number 3 is here that, what is number 3? Number 3 is, in my opinion, songwriting is like an instrument. You have to keep it going on, because otherwise it's kind of the same as if you start, if you have a break from whatever, from running or going to the gym, you probably won't be able to create or make those kind of situations that you do with the songwriting as quickly as possible. So that's a little bit something that I would consider based on my experiences. I took some songwriting lessons as well during my master's studies, but I think more about that stuff I will probably reveal some of it later on this channel if anyone is interested about that. But other than that, so that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you found this useful. Hit thumbs up, subscribe for more content like this, and hopefully see you on the next one.